Welcome back. Let's catch up on that breaking news this morning that Christian Horner has been sacked by Formula One's Red Bull racing team.
As the news has broken this morning, Christian Horner is to leave Red Bull with immediate effect.
One moment he was winning races, the next he was out. Christian Horner's sudden exit from Red Bull shocked everyone. But the real story goes deeper than racing, and what happened might change how you see Formula One forever. When Horner walked into the Red Bull factory in Milton Keynes to say goodbye, he was visibly emotional. Addressing a room full of stunned staff, he thanked them for 20.5 years of loyalty and hard work. He described his time at the helm as the biggest privilege of his life. Then he paused. The room fell silent before erupting in applause. It was a heartfelt farewell that symbolized the end of an era.
It's given so much during the last 20.5 years that I've been here. When I arrived...
For 2 decades, Christian Horner had led Red Bull Racing to unprecedented success. Since becoming the youngest team principal in F1 history in 2005, he oversaw 6 Constructors championships and 8 drivers' titles. Under his leadership, Red Bull celebrated 124 victories and 287 podiums. The team went from outsiders to a dominant force, challenging traditional giants like Ferrari and Mercedes. But despite the glittering resume, 2025 painted a very different picture. Red Bull was struggling. The team had fallen to 4th in the Constructors' standings, with just 2 wins in the season. The previously unbeatable machine was faltering. Adrian Newey, the engineering mastermind behind Red Bull's dominant cars, left earlier in the year. Sporting director Jonathan Wheatley also exited, raising questions about the internal health of the team. Something was clearly off. The garage no longer felt invincible. Pit wall decisions appeared hesitant. Race strategies that once defined their brilliance became questionable. Sponsors began raising eyebrows. Even the media, once dazzled by Red Bull's swagger, started to question the stability of its leadership. In the high-stakes world of Formula One, perception is everything. And the perception of Red Bull was quickly shifting. Tensions were not limited to performance issues. Behind closed doors, a power struggle was unfolding. The Verstappen camp, particularly Max's father Jos Verstappen, had reportedly grown frustrated with Horner's decisions. Jos, never shy about expressing his views, had previously voiced discomfort with the way Red Bull was being run. Multiple sources suggest that Jos's influence on the board was growing. With Red Bull's founder, Dietrich Mateschitz, no longer alive to provide cover, Horner's position had become increasingly vulnerable. The whispers grew louder when Verstappen skipped multiple sponsor events earlier in the season. Rumors circulated that he had threatened to leave if changes weren't made at the top. While nothing was confirmed, the signs were there. And in a team built on loyalty, internal fractures like this can be fatal. The decision to part ways with Horner came swiftly. The announcement was delivered by Red Bull GmbH, the Austrian parent company. Effective immediately, Horner was relieved of all operational duties. Laurent Mekies, who had been heading the Racing Bulls project, was named as the new CEO and team principal. The decision was not just about leadership, it was about direction. New Red Bull team principal Laurent Mekies says it still feels unreal to replace Christian Horner as he spoke for the first time since landing the role. Mekies inherits a team in transition. While the Red Bull brand remains strong, its core has been shaken. With new regulations coming in 2026 and internal morale low, Mekies face a monumental challenge. His first task is to stabilize the team and reassure sponsors and staff. But the elephant in the room remains Max Verstappen. Although under contract until 2028, Verstappen reportedly has performance-based exit clauses. If Red Bull cannot deliver results, his departure is not off the table. The question many are asking is whether Mekies has the charisma and authority to lead the team through this storm. Unlike Horner, who combined sharp technical insight with media-savvy charm, Mekies is seen as more reserved. He is respected within the paddock, no doubt, but the task ahead may require more than quiet leadership. It may demand a public show of strength Red Bull has not needed to display in years. The fallout from Horner's exit also has a deeply personal layer. Just days before his dismissal, Horner's ex-wife passed away. The mother of his 11-year-old daughter, her death added a somber tone to an already emotional week. During his farewell speech, some close to him said his tears were as much for personal loss as they were for professional departure. Through it all, his wife Geri Halliwell, the former Spice Girl, stood by him. Public appearances were limited, but insiders suggest she has begun plotting a return to public life. Despite the abrupt exit, Horner is still technically on the Red Bull payroll. He is expected to serve a gardening leave through the end of 2025. This contractual pause prevents him from joining any rival teams or taking up official roles elsewhere in the paddock. But once that period ends, the speculation begins. Rumors about Horner's next move are swirling. Ferrari had approached him informally earlier in the year. At the time, Horner dismissed the idea, stating he was flattered but committed to Red Bull. Now that he is free, Ferrari could reignite interest. Another name floating around is Alpine. Industry voices like Ralf Schumacher have hinted that Horner could take on a major management role there, possibly working alongside consultant Flavio Briatore. Media roles are also in the mix. With his sharp insight and well-known face, Horner is seen as a strong candidate for punditry or commentary. Networks covering F1 would likely welcome him, especially during a time when the sport is undergoing so much transformation. Others believe he might opt for a behind-the-scenes consulting role, possibly with governing bodies like the FIA or in an advisory capacity to smaller teams. Some even speculate that Horner might look into partial ownership or executive roles within a team. His deep experience and strategic vision could be invaluable for newer entrants or struggling teams looking to rebuild. Whatever the path, few believe Horner will walk away from Formula One entirely. What remains unknown is whether Horner plans to return with vengeance or closure. Those who know him say he is competitive to the core. Being forced out of the very empire he built could fuel a comeback story that F1 fans will talk about for years. And if there is one thing Formula One thrives on, it is drama at the top. As for Red Bull, the pressure is on. Mekies must deliver stability and performance in record time. The team cannot afford to slip further behind Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren. Internally, trust must be rebuilt. And with Verstappen watching closely, every move will be scrutinized. Christian Horner's departure marks more than just a leadership change. It signals the end of an era built on grit, charisma, and fierce competitiveness. Whether you see him as a mastermind or a lightning rod for controversy, his impact on the sport is undeniable. His next chapter remains unwritten, but one thing is certain. The Formula One paddock will feel his presence again. The sport now enters a new phase, and fans are left wondering whether Red Bull can maintain its status without its longtime leader. Can Mekies lead a resurgence, or will the team face a continued decline? And where will Horner reappear? In the garage, the media booth, or perhaps orchestrating a new team challenge? The answers are still unfolding. What is clear is that Christian Horner's story is far from over. It has simply entered a dramatic new act. If you found this video as gripping as we did, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more F1 deep dives. And let us know in the comments, where do you think Horner will land next? The garage, the boardroom, or the broadcast booth?